So it's going to be some tips, advice in terms of getting back into reading as an adult, um, as one who just got back into reading a couple months ago. Um, so background wise for me, um, you know, not I was big into reading, in like elementary school, middle school, sort of, and then when we got to that age, probably like whenever I remember, like seventh or eighth grade, when you really started getting like forced to read books for school. I think getting forced to read books that I wasn't interested in at the time definitely steered me away from reading. And I think like I was never good at reading comprehension tests, like standardized state testing for reading. So I did bad on those. So that always kind of, I think, steered me away from reading, unfortunately. And then once I got to high school, I kind of just there was a couple books here and there that I read that I remember liking and enjoying, but for the most part, most of the books I read in high school, I just skimmed through, put the audiobook in the background, barely listened to it, Spark Notes, all that kind of, shortcuts and stuff that I did, just to get a grade and pass. Now since then, I'm almost 22, so I haven't really read any books really since probably junior year, sophomore year of high school, and that was around COVID. So it's been a while. Um, I kind of got back into reading around the end of last year, and I ended up reading one book last year. And it was like a 100-page poetry book, poetry and short stories or something like that. I don't really remember. But it is March 23rd, 2026. So since mid-January, I've read all these books. Now they're not super long books, and there are some books that I've picked up to read, read a couple hundred pages, not interested. Like right now, I started reading the Odyssey again. I read that in high school. That was one of the books I read and enjoyed. But I picked that up maybe a month ago. I'm at like 200 pages or so. I haven't picked it up in probably almost a month. Um, but you know, I think because that kind of can push someone out of that habit of reading and that enjoyment of reading. Um, I think um, allowing yourself to, if you're reading a book, like for me, The Odyssey, I'm almost 200 pages into it and I haven't picked it up in like 3 weeks. So what? It's fine. Like I'm not doing this for school. I'm not doing this to write essays on it. I'm not doing this to make videos and like review books or whatever. I'm doing this for me because I enjoy it. And I kind of want to expand my knowledge as someone who didn't take advantage of that when I was in school. Um, so yeah, so like allow yourself to um what's the best way to phrase this? Allow yourself to pick up a book and read a couple hundred pages and not finish it, or go back to it in a couple months and finish it, or perfectly fine. It's also perfectly fine for me, at least. I am currently reading almost at every given point at least 2 to 3 books at a time. Now, some people can do that, some people probably can't. Totally up to you. Um, like right now, I'm reading Anthony Bourdain's book. Um, I would say about a third of the way in. Um, and I'm reading it here and there. But through that, I've also picked up other books. Like I picked up and read. Um, since I started that book, I picked up and read Howl by Allen Ginsberg. I mean, it's short. It's not even. It's also a bunch of poems from him, but definitely recommend reading it. Very good poem. Very good poet too. Recently, I picked up and read The Stranger by Camus. I finished that in a sitting. It was just one of those days. Um, Now another thing is I have a couple chunk books, some big dogs. I got Moby Dick I want to read. Um, the big one that everyone talks about, one of the big ones that everyone talks about, War and Peace by Tolstoy. I just picked that up, so that's probably gonna be my next big read. But right now I'm reading. The Count of Monte Cristo, and I am this much. Now again, this is not one of those books that I sit and read a couple, 10, 20, 30 pages every day. I just kind of started getting back into it. I kind of took like a week-long break of not picking it up. Because it's a good story so far, and from everything I've heard, it gets even better, and it kind of hooks you in, and you kind of cruise along with the book. But I'm just taking my time with it, not really gonna stress rushing reading when I don't, I'm not doing this for school or any assignments or anything like that. And then like annotations again. I'm not even annotating this book. It's just because it's such a big book and the chapters are so short that I'm just adding tabs for each chapter if I want to go back in the future. Make it easier. Um, and I only really annotate books that I think have meaning, or at least annotations have meanings to me. So if I get into like philosophy books and stuff like that, again, another book I picked up and didn't finish, Meditations. Another book that I definitely will go back and get because I have 3 different versions of it. And I will go back and finish it. I only read through I think the first 3 books or something. But that's another book that I'll probably do a lot of annotations on, a lot of rereads, a lot of analysis on because from what I've heard, it's a very important book, and from what I've gotten so far, it's very important. But yeah, Epic Gilgamesh. That's another quick read. So another thing too, I think getting back into reading, especially if you've read before, on your own for enjoyment, I think picking up a book you've read before is kind of something that might actually be good for you, something that you're familiar with, something that maybe is not super super long. Um, I would definitely, yeah, do something somewhat easier for your brain if you're not used to reading. Um, but yeah, the first book I started off with was 1984, George Orwell. There's a lot of obviously similarities to what's going on in the world, especially in the country I currently live in. Um, that kind of lines up with this. Not obviously verbatim, but some similarities, censoring and stuff like that that just kind of makes sense. And same with his Animal Farm too, same kind of thing too. And that's kind of the reason why I started reading. I think just to kind of get educate on what's going on. Um, her quote, this is not going to be word for word, and I don't know who said it, so sorry, but something about the best way to understand or relate to what is currently going on is not by looking at the news, but it's by reading the past, and kind of took that, literally. So I got these books. These are the first 2 books I started reading. Um, and then I don't even know what I went to after that. I think it was Alchemist. Just seemed like a cool cover, and it's one of those, and it's considered another classic. It's a very popular book, so very good story. Again, probably I think I read through this in like two different sittings. Um, Another short one that's good too. Probably you might have read this in school. Of Mice and Men. Oh, I just realized it's all gonna be backwards. You're not gonna be able to read it, but Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Eventually, I want to grab either Grapes of Wrath or East of Eden and read those. Those are both bigger books, so I got good 30 books ahead of that I want to read. That is another thing. If you get into reading, you are going to find yourself going through different rabbit holes, finding different authors, different books, and you're going to start buying a bunch of books, and you're going to have a lot of books you want to read. That's fine. You gotta think about it like if you're my age, right? So you're in your early 20s, maybe you're in college or out of college, and you um, want to get back into reading. You're like, there's so many books, I'm not got much time. Dude, you got time. Trust me. Now that I'm like reading a lot more and going through books like this, it's a lot easier for me to understand like, okay, like I have a lot of books I want to read and I want to rush through them and read all of them. At the same time, I have so many years left of my life that I can spend reading, you know? Getting the Stranger, that was a good one. Another good one that I don't know. To me, it was a little overhyped from what I've heard. I might have to reread it again, but Siddhartha. Um, it's a short read. From what people say when they talk about it, it's like almost like you're not reading. It's like a meditation almost. I didn't really get that. Not. I'm very big on like Buddhism. I think that's super cool, fascinating to me, and a lot of like Eastern traditions and stuff are very interesting to me. But I don't know, didn't get it for me. But again, I might 5 years down from 5 years down the line, I might pick this back up and enjoy it. I did enjoy it. It was a good story. I just a lot of the stuff you get from it or what people talk about it, I just didn't get, and that is what it is. Another thing that kind of goes hand in hand, but not necessarily, journaling. I have currently 3 journals. So right now I'm learning languages. Um, I kind of want to learn a couple different languages. So I'm starting out with one for now, but I have a book for that, taking notes, translation, stuff like that. I started with Duolingo. I'm gonna get some actual books and stuff in the future in the next couple months or so. Um, but I have that book, and I have another book, another journal that I use for annotations. I haven't used it recently, but start writing down the annotations and stuff like that. Kind of engraves it in your brain a little bit better, writing it out and stuff. And then this one, which is like my actual journal, and now I've tried to do this a lot before with pocket journals and stuff. Never been able to do it. I think it's not a matter of me wanting to do it. It's more a matter of I don't know what the fuck to write. I don't know what to write. So with this one, there's a couple different YouTubers on the interweb talking about habit tracking, and I've just come up with this is like their from a couple different people come up with this system where you write down every day of the month and you write down, one memorable line. So it's only one line long, something that happened that day. Um, and memorable. It doesn't have to be a good memory, but something that happened. So you can look back and be like, oh, that happened that day. I got blank space on the top just because I started it the 8th of the month. I didn't. So, um, but on this one, I just have right here, I have my weight, checking my weight. And then I have like exercise, going on walks, taking my vitamins, reading, language. Then these blue ones right here, if you can see that, are two. They're in blue because I kind of want to separate them. They're habits that I want to make into permanent habits, ones that I do almost every day. One of them is journaling, which I've been getting better at, and the other one is speak to a stranger. I am extremely introverted, and I have a pretty strong dislike for people and crowds and stuff like that. And so, um, kind of doing that. I haven't crossed it off yet. I haven't done that all this month. Then I have one red one, which is just a bad habit. So one that I don't want to be crossing off. And that's just social media. So just like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that BS. So I've only crossed it off twice. So, and then I have these 2 charts right here. So the one that's in green right here, that is pages read. So I have a chart and it just goes from 0 up to 70 pages. And then I just, go up the chart, each day, whatever, how many pages I read. There was one day I read 174 pages. That was the day I read The Stranger. I finished one book and then read that, yeah. And then the red one is going to be my screen time, and that's going to be go from 2 hours to 12 hours. Not great with that, but we're working on it. It's getting better. And this is just I should be doing this every day. I don't, but I just write, give myself like a quarter page, half a page. I just write the date, whatever time it is, and I just write whatever. So like this first one's just kind of like a bunch of different stuff that I did through the day. And then I have a couple different ones that are like different thoughts about specific subjects and stuff like that, not necessarily about what happened that day. Kind of just letting myself write and do whatever. Might change it up next month, do something a little different, but for now, I think it's kind of what I'm rocking with. So, and then this one. So I always carry on a notebook in my back pocket just for work and stuff. It's useful. But this one is I'm making myself write just one line a day of whatever, a quote, something that happened, um, you know. So I've only gotten, you know, page and a little extra, but yeah. So kind of work my way through that. Um, and again, this isn't stuff you have to do. Obviously, none of this you have to do. It's just what I do to kind of try and stay off of my phone and just kind of not track my life, but I think it'd just be cool to like find this notebook or find like I have a bunch of different notebooks throughout years. Because I've seen people journal and they're like in their 40s. I'm like, oh, I have 15 journals, from my basically my entire life, and that's just something that I think is super cool. For me, but also like in the future, kids, grandkids, whatever, they find those books, they see what I did throughout my life, and it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, I think that might be it for my ramble. I want to try and do more content. Um, so I don't know of what. I mean, obviously, just like whatever I'm interested in, but I'm not entirely sure on what. This is primarily about reading and just like kind of staying off your phone. But I have other stuff that I definitely want to talk about and make like maybe longish videos on certain subjects and something that's going on in the world and stuff. But for right now, I think this might be it. So if I make another video again, then you'll see me again. If not, then to the couple people that see this, you guys are the cool ones. You guys aren't the bad guys, I would assume.